Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at 5 things I'll be looking for out of the Miami Hurricanes as they open the season against Miami of Ohio. And this is a really fun team to talk about because you talk about all the talent and what this team could be in 2023. These 5 things, if we see these 5 things, you're starting to feel really good about the Hurricanes doing something special in the 2023 season. Now, before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys and the Miami fans. You guys have shown a ton of love, ton of support to the boys. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. One of my favorite teams to talk about because of how passionate and how like just awesome the fans have been. And secondly, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I say this and I truly mean it. Like learning from you guys, talking ball in the comment section. That's my favorite part about doing this. So if I left out, I got 5 reasons. If I left out a reason you think is important, let me know. If you got a breakout player that I'm sleeping on, let me know. And without further ado, let's get into this. And my number one thing I'll be looking for is this offensive line, not just to be good, but it to be dominant. I think that you take a look, a lot of the conversation around this Miami team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, goes around what does Tyler Van Dyke look like in the Shannon Dawson offense? And I get it. That's my number 2 reason. I'll get that out of the way real quick. My number 1 thing I want to see, though, is this offensive line has the chance to not just be good, not just be a solid offensive line in the ACC, which is in cases more than we've seen from the Hurricanes up front. I think this is a unit that could be one of the best in the ACC and one of the best in the entire country. Like you take a look, Matt Lee, Javion Cohen coming in the transfer portal. Those guys could be on NFL rosters if they wanted to right now. Francis Mauigoa, you're hearing is probably going to be a top 10 pick when he decides to declare to the NFL draft in 3 years. The talent on this Miami offensive line, truly special. Sounds like Jalen Rivers is locking down that left tackle when you got Pancake Concho waiting in the wings. Zion Nelson, another wild card. I mean, those are like 7 guys who probably will be playing in the NFL at some point in their career. This offensive line is getting slept on in a major way. And if this group is as good as I think it can be in 2023, and we see that week 1, my optimism about this Miami Hurricanes season is going up, and it's going up in a big way. Now, the second reason, and don't get me wrong, this is very, very important. Tyler Van Dyke, how does he look in the Shannon Dawson offense? We talked a lot about it. Can Tyler Van Dyke, what I'm asking and looking for Tyler Van Dyke in the Shannon Dawson offense is just how to operate the offense. Are the balls coming out accurately? Are the balls coming out on time? Does Tyler Van Dyke look like he's kind of re-grabbed that confidence that he had in the 2021 year? I mean, we have no questions about Tyler Van Dyke and his talent, his arm talent, his pedigree. We know he can do that. We just want to see him get back that confidence. And can Shannon Dawson work the magic he worked with Clayton Tune at Houston with Tyler Van Dyke in Miami? And again, I mean, you're probably talking about a much more talented quarterback with Tyler Van Dyke than he was working with with Clayton Tune at Houston. Number 3, and this is a big one for me, wide receiver play. I just haven't been impressed with the wide receiver play for the Hurricanes. I know I've talked to a lot of fans in the comment section. You guys have kind of dittoed that. What wide receivers on this offense are going to be stepping up and emerging as some guys that Tyler Van Dyke can go to? And the first guy I want to talk about, every night I read the practice reports for the Miami Hurricanes, one of the teams I'm watching a lot of, keeping tabs on. You see Colby Young pretty much every practice report. I mean, this is a dude that I think a lot of people were excited about last year, showed some flashes, but the consistency wasn't there. Going into year 2 with the Hurricanes, this is a guy, you saw him in the spring game, just looks different, looks like he could be that wide receiver 1, that boundary dude. I'm really looking for him to have a breakout year, and if you start seeing those flashes against Miami of Ohio, I think you're getting really excited about what this offense could be. And probably the most slept-on player, I said the offensive line is the most slept-on unit, this most slept-on player for this Hurricanes offense, probably team, Xavier Restrepo. I mean, when Xavier Restrepo went down last year with injury, like this offense, the pass catchers, it was kind of non-existent. I think that having a quarterback that has a wide receiver that they can go to, that they always look for in the big moment, is massive for a quarterback's development. And I think Xavier Restrepo could be that guy. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke and him are best friends. You saw the chemistry in the spring game. And Xavier Restrepo is sometimes not the flashiest player, but when it's 3rd and 5, you need someone to create separation in those short intermediate route trees, catch the football, create after the catch. But that's Xavier Restrepo's game, and it's going to be massively important for the Hurricanes on the offensive side of the ball. A few other names I want to shout out. Tyler Harrell will be the fastest player on the team. He'll be the fastest player on the field pretty much every week. Offense, defense, it don't matter. He has burners. He can stretch the field. Can you find some big plays? Can you get Tyler Harrell maybe mashed up on a nickel or a safety and let him go to work with all that speed? And at the very least, are you making safeties respect that speed and maybe opening it up for some other wide receivers? A couple other guys, Jacoby George, Rashad Smith. I think y'all have been critical of me for sleeping on them. I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just there are some other guys that I'm more excited about than those two who can certainly ball and will be playing a role in this Miami Hurricanes offense. And maybe that's the name that you guys are putting in the comment section. My guy's Ray Joseph. True freshman. You saw him flash a little bit. You see it in the fall practice reports. I think he's got a ton of juice. Saw him out of high school. Massive get for the Hurricanes. He could be a guy that kind of provides a little juice as a true freshman. Is he going to be ready week one to play a lot of snaps? Maybe not. Got to understand the playbook. Got to get that body right. That being said, I think Ray Joseph at some point during the season could be emerging as a guy in a real weapon for this Hurricanes offense. And then I don't have a reason in my top 5 for the running backs, but I am interested. Just a side note. I am really interested about who kind of shakes out as this running back one, and it might just be a committee all year. You got 4 really good running backs. Henry Parrish Jr., more of your space guy. Don Chaney, a guy I'm very excited to finally see healthy. Jay Allen making some noise, and then true freshman Mark Fletcher. And what I love about the running back room, kind of similar to the wide receiver room, all of these running backs do a little bit of a different thing. So either you could just ride the hot hand, whatever running back is seeing the holes and making it happen, you ride him, or just in different situations, you got a different running back for kind of every situation you want. And I think that'd be the route Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson decide to go. Now, the last 2 reasons are on the defensive side of the ball. And this defense, I think the offense has a high ceiling. I think the defense has a higher ceiling. And it starts with the defensive line. I use the word dominance again because just like the offensive line, I don't think this defensive line can just be solid. I think it can truly be special. I mean, Leonard Taylor definitely could be a top 20, top 15 NFL draft pick in 2024. Akeem Mesidor, I think, could be certainly a top 50 pick. Ruben Bain Jr., a guy that you're hearing so much buzz around. He is, I mean, as a true freshman, probably sounds outside of Francis Mauigoa. It probably sounds like the next true freshman that'll be making the biggest impact. Nigel Kelly, Branson Dean, Jafari Harvey. You talk about Jafari Harvey, I think an all ACC caliber player, potentially on the 2 deep of that defensive line. That tells you not only is it really a talented group, but it's a deep group, and they're going to be able to rotate those guys in. I expect this defensive line to be one of the better pass rushing groups that you see in the whole entire country, and I want to see it on full display against Miami of Ohio. My last reason is just like the defensive line, can this secondary be elite? The quick touch on the linebackers. Francisco Mauigoa, it sounds like he's like locking down, and that's kind of similar to the wide receiver room. I don't think the linebacker play has been great for the Hurricanes. Francisco kind of being that guy that I'm going to go all over the field and get beyond the line of scrimmage. He seems to have that mic lockdown. I heard KJ Cloyd, Wesley Bissaint, they're kind of battling it out at that weak side backer spot. Wesley Bissaint, I think, could be a ball player. I think I was really impressed with what he did as a true freshman. But I do want to focus on the secondary because you have an elite defensive line that I think is going to cause a lot of pressure. Can you get some turnover? Can this secondary be kind of match what the defensive line is? I think you're looking at probably the top safety duo in the country. Cam Kitchens, arguably the best safety in the country. James Williams has the potential to be the best safety in the country. I think you've seen flashes of James Williams playing really good football, and you've seen flashes of him leaving a little left on the table. Former 5-star guy, all the traits in the world. You see him out on the field, and you're like, yeah, that dude can play. That dude, like, you're optimistic about him putting it together. Can that group be the best in the country? Because if it is, I really do like the cornerback room. Devontae Brown probably has one of those cornerback spots locked down. You go in and get Jaden Davis, who's played a ton of football for Oklahoma. Sounds like he'll play that nickel role. To Corey Crouch, Daryl Porter, Jadias Richard, I think might play a lot. You talk about Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt is really disappointed to lose him. I mean, he kind of flashed as a true freshman, and I mean, he sounds like a guy that really could play some good football for the Hurricanes. And I guess my question is, I think out of that secondary room, Jaden Davis, Devontae Brown, James Williams, Cam Kitchens, those guys are going to play. What's that last name in that cornerback room that kind of steps up and grabs that starting role? I'll be looking for that. But if these 5 things, to kind of summarize, these 5 things, if we kind of see an elite offensive line, Tyler Van Dyke reestablishing that confidence, wide receivers stepping up on the offensive side of the ball, that's a recipe for an elite offense for the Hurricanes. And then on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion, college football, it's kind of an easy recipe. If you have an elite defensive line, you talk about the Georgia Bulldogs being that blueprint, an elite front seven, a defensive line that just can get pressure with four guys. It's really easy to kind of scheme up and have a good defense when you got four guys that can get after the quarterback. I think the Hurricanes can do that. And if these five things come to fruition against Miami of Ohio and we start seeing some glimpses of this, like buckle up, because this is a Hurricanes team that I'm not saying they're going to go out and win the ACC, but if you have to ask me who a dark horse is outside of Clemson, Florida State, like this Miami Hurricanes team, it's talented. It's got a lot of sleeping giants on their roster, and I'm really excited to see if some of these sleeping giants wake up a little bit week one, because we got Texas A&M week two. Can't wait. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. If you do enjoy the content, again, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys rocking with us, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.